So hi everybody, today we're going to be going over some mixed division problems using the bus stop method. So we're going to be doing problems dividing by 2, 3 and 5, and we're looking at questions where the remainder is moving over to the units or moving it on to the end of the question. So let's just go over a problem where there are no remainders. So here I have got a problem and it is 48 divided by 2. Okay, so how am I going to solve this problem? So I'm going to start off by looking at the tens, and I want to know how many 2's fit into 4. Okay, and really this 4 is 40, isn't it, boys and girls? It's 4 tens. So if I count up in 2's, I'm going to start at 0 as we know. I'm going to count up in 2's until I get to 4. So 2, 4. So 2 2's fit in 4. So I'm going to write the number 2 there. Now I can check this in a couple of other ways. I could draw 4 cookies and think about splitting them up into groups of 2. So I would have one group of 2, 2 groups of 2. And as you can see, the answer is obviously still 2. Right, so I've done the tens and I'm going to move on to my units next. Now, I don't have any remainders carried over, so the number that I'm looking at here is 8 divided by 2. And I want to know how many 2's are there in 8. Now, you can just solve this using your knowledge of the tables. You might just know, well, 2 times 4 equals 8. You might want to count up using your fingers in stations of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, and you can see that there's still 4. Or you can do the groups again. So let's have a go at drawing 8 cookies this time. And circling the groups of 2 because we're dividing by 2. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 2. So my answer is going to be 4. Which means that 48 divided by 2 is 24. So we're going to look at another example now where there's going to be a remainder. So this time we have got 49 divided by 2, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to think, well, how many 2's are in 4? And as we know, it's 2. This time I have got 9 divided by 2. Now, 9 is not a station in the 2 times table, but I can count up in 2's until I get as close as I can to it without going over it. So I'll start at 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. If I went any further to 10, I would go over it. So I'm at 8. So I've used 4 fingers. So there are 4 2's and 9. But that only brought me to 8. So I need to think, well, 8 add what equals 9? 8, 9. 8 add 1 equals 9. So my remainder is going to be 1. Now I can again check this with my group strategy. I'm going to draw 9 cookies this time. Right, and I'm going to again just circle the groups of 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no more groups of 2, but there's 1 left over, 1 remainder. So you can see that I've wrote 4 remainder 1, and you can see here that I managed to get 4 groups of 2 with 1 left over. Right, let's go on to another example now, and I hope this is kind of helping you to see how it makes sense. This time we're going to do an example that has mixed remainders, that have remainders that go over to the units and at the end of the sum. And this time we've got 53 divided by 2. So as always, I'm going to start with the tens here, and I'm going to think, well, how many 2's fit into 5? So I can count up in 2's. I go 0, 2, 4, 6, but 6 is too far. So I've managed to fit 2 2's into 5. But I'm going to have a remainder because I only got to 4. So I need to think, well, 4 add what equals 5? 4, 5. 4 add 1 equals 5. So my remainder is 1. I can show you this again, boys and girls, using the group strategy. This time I'm going to draw a 5 because I was dividing 5 by 2. If I circle the groups of 2, you can see I've got 2 groups and 1 cookie left over. So I've written that as 2 here with 1 left over. Now, this has changed my 3 into a 13 now. That 1 has changed it to 13. So I need to think, well, if I had 13, how many 2's are in 13? So I can count up again using my fingers. I can go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, but 14's too far, so I've used up 6 fingers because 2 times 6 equals 12. But remember, we're trying to reach 13. So 12 add what equals 13? 12 add 1 equals 13. So my remainder is going to be 1. Let's check that using our group strategy. So I'm going to draw 13 cookies. And I want to see how many groups of 2 can I get. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 groups with 1 left over, which is the same as the answer I got using a counting up strategy. Okay, we're going to move on now to some harder examples that are using different tables, because with the 2 times table, if there's a remainder, it's always going to be 1, but different tables are different, and that's not always the case. So this time we're dividing by 3, and we're going to look at 38 divided by 3. So the strategy is still the same. We're going to look at the tens, then the units column. So we're going to start off by thinking, how many 3's are there in 3? Which is easy, because it's just 1 3 in 3, isn't it, boys and girls? And then we've got to think, well, how many 3's are there in 8? So you can count up in 3's, going 3, 6, 9, but 9 is too far. We could only fit 2 3's in 9, which brings us to 6. And then we're going to, 2 3's in 8, sorry, which brings us to 6. And then we're going to have a remainder. So we've got to 6, but we need to get to 8. So what do we need to add on to 6 to make it 8? So put 6 in your head, 7, 8, 2, a remainder of 2. Now let's try drawing out this problem using our group strategy. So we're going to draw 8 cookies and split them into groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now let's see how many groups of 3 we can make. We've got 1 group of 3, 2 groups of 3, 2 groups of 3, with 2 left over, a remainder of 2. Let's try another problem in the 3 times table. Let's try 26 divided by 3. So let's look at the tens first. We want to know how many 3's are there in 2. Well, if I had 2 cookies, could I get any groups of 3 there? No, so it's 0. So I'm just going to leave it blank up there because there are no cookies for anybody if I was going to be sharing them equally. But I do have some left over now. How many do I have left over? I have 2 left over, a remainder of 2. So I'm going to carry them over to the units column. And instead of now having 6 divided by 3, I've now got 26 divided by 3. So I can try and count up in 3's until I get as close to 26 as I can without going over it. And you can also use a tables mat as well to help you. So I'm going to do it using my fingers. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. Oh, but 27 is too far. So I've used 8 fingers. Okay, so I've managed to fit 8 3's in there. But that only got me to 24. And I want to get to 26. So what is my remainder going to be? 24 adds what equals 26? 24 in my head, 25, 26. 2. So my remainder is going to be 2. Now, boys and girls, if you do not believe me, I'm going to draw this problem out. And you can always draw out a problem, okay, even if you think, oh, that's quite a big number, because it's always a good idea to visualise it. So I'm going to draw 26 cookies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Right, and I'm wanting to look for groups of 3. How many groups of 3 can I make? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I've got 2 left over. So it's still 8, remainder 2. 8 with 2 left over. Okay, now, boys and girls, I'm going to do one more example, and then you're going to be moving on to your task, okay? This time I'm going to do one in the 5 times table. And this time we're going to have 72 divided by 5. So the steps are still the same. I'm still going to be looking at the tens first, then the units. So I want to think, how many 5s are in 7? So 0, 5, 10. I've went too far, so 1 5 fits in 7. And how many am I going to have left over? Well, 5 add 2 is 7, so I'm going to have 2 left over. Now I've got 22 divided by 5, so I'm going to count up in 5s on my fingers until I get as close to 5 as I can without going over. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 is too far, so I managed to get 4 5s and 22, and that brought me to 20, but I'm going to have a remainder. 5 4s is only 20, but it's asking for 22. So what is my remainder going to be? I might draw this out to try and help me. So I'm going to draw 22, that's 10, 15, 20, 22. And I want to see, well, I know that there's 4 groups of 5, but I can check that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 5, and what's my remainder? 2 is my remainder. So remainder 2. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, boys and girls. Remember, if you're not sure of anything, just to let me know in the Ask the Teachers channel. Remember, you can draw out a problem, you can count up using your fingers in the table, or you can use your table mat to help you. Okay, so I hope that's been helpful, boys and girls. Enjoy your task and let me know if you need any help. Bye for now.